think of Deflategate, that 11 of the 12 balls allegedly that the Patriots used in that championship game were underinflated. What do you think of that, the softballs?
Well, I tell you what, having been a receiver, I like a softer ball. That's all I can tell you.
Vice President Joe Biden, it's always good to see you, sir.
He must have been a wide receiver.
It's good to see you guys. Thanks. Well, actually, I wasn't bad at it.
Goodbye, Vice President Joe Biden.
You see, that's their mistake. They shouldn't have said goodbye. They should have let him keep talking because it would have gotten better and better. By the way, of course he likes softballs, and he gets plenty of them with the questions that he gets on those shows. They all do. Sean Spicer joins us, Communications Director for the RNC. Hello, Sean.
Hello, Steve.
You like that little softball analogy of mine there?
I was wondering where you were going. Yeah, I like it.
All right, like to keep them guessing. Okay, Hillary Clinton. You guys say she had a rough day yesterday. Explain.
Well, she jets off to Canada to collect a big hefty check. Speaking from a bank up there they've been critical of the industry. Then they fly off to Canada, do this big thing to rake in some cash. And in it, she goes up there. The big issue is what she's got to say about Keystone. Obviously, it's extremely important to the Canadian economy, probably more so than it is to our economy in some ways, and refuses to sort of take out a position on that and backs most of the Obama strategy, including his policies on Iran and how she would work with Congress differently. And it's just so it was like you're gonna basically own the narrative that you're running as his third term.
Yeah. No, well, look, she has embraced the whole State of the Union. She tweeted out support for the State of the Union. I didn't see any exceptions mentioned in there. And you know, has she not been all over the map when it comes to sanctions on Iran?
Yeah, and again, part of it is that she, when it's convenient, she cops out and talks about how, she really doesn't want to talk about because she was Secretary of State. She doesn't want to comment on an ongoing thing. But then when it's convenient, she does. I mean, so, yeah, she has continued to sort of pick and choose her moments when it's convenient to say one thing or not say another, and then it's really interesting because I think that it is. I think where she is right now is when it gets time to talk politics and policy, she really actually keeps putting her foot in her mouth. When she just did sort of that shuttle diplomacy where she was flying around the world and getting a lot of photo ops, her approval rating went way up and her favorability went up. And as soon as she starts talking about specific policies, her position on issues, you notice that she takes a ton of political, her hits in terms of her approval rating. I think largely that's because people go, oh, that's who you are?
Are you saying that she would have been better off having been born and maybe even running in the silent movie era?
I do think, it's funny because people, when you literally look at the trajectory of her favorability and unfavorable rating, it's almost like when she stays silent, it goes up. The more she talks, the more she engages.
That's true. Yeah.
That book tour was an absolute unmitigated disaster. And so again,
I
the
couldn't
more she
agree more.
emerges, the worse she does.
Let me ask you this. Just had Orrin Hatch on, and he said that it's a big mistake. First of all, he said he doesn't think President Obama has any love for Israel. He thinks it's this whole hullabaloo, as he put it, over the invite to Netanyahu by Boehner and the snub that Obama won't meet with Netanyahu is a big mistake. And he said, who says that only the president could invite a foreign leader to speak before the joint session of Congress? He says that's not how it works.
Right. In fact, the irony is that the only reason that the president speaks in Congress and for the State of the Union is because the Speaker invites him to come address a joint session, and that responsibility and duty is housed within the Speaker of the House. Here's what I think is interesting, Steve, and you were kind of alluding to a media fallacy at the beginning of your thing where the mainstream media loses something. The president has done and continues to talk and do all of this stuff through executive action, where he says, I don't need to go through Congress. I don't need to consult Congress. I'm going to do it on my own. I'm going to go out alone. I'm going to do my own thing. But when the Speaker of the House invites someone to address Congress, which is 100% within his purview, everyone in the national media in the White House gets all upraged about, how could he do this? How could he invite someone that he has the full authority to invite? But when he actually goes around Congress to enact policies and use the executive action, no one seems to, from the media, seems to think that that's somehow a major problem, which, frankly,
very good point.
It's just sort of like,
Excellent
for me,
point.
I kind of go, wait a second. We all learn how a bill becomes a law, and you go through the Congress and the House and the Senate, and, Schoolhouse Rock, et cetera.
Excellent point, Sean.
Huh?
No, not to interrupt. That's an excellent point. But I got 30 seconds. What do you think's going to come out of the meeting with Romney and Bush?
I don't know. I think here's the thing. They're both very, very important people in our party. They both have a lot to offer. We've got somewhere in the area right now, I think about 27 potential candidates that are looking at this race. I think if they all I really care about is I would love to have a race that's focused on beating the Democrats, promoting good conservative ideas.
Sounds good.
Alternative.
Sean, I'm up against a hard break. Thank you very much, though, as always. Good to see you. Up next, Democratic strategist and Newsmax analyst Hank Scheinkampf. Don't go away.